One of the most hyped launches in the gaming sector has finally taken place. As we've seen, they've had their TGE this week on the 23rd of October. Now, it is going to be Seedworld. That is a project that we're talking about in today's video. And as always, guys, welcome back to Coin Knowledge, where we kind of cover the gaming sector and overall sector and narrative of crypto to kind of keep you guys updated in what's happening and what to expect this bull market to keep you in the loop. And as always, if you guys get value out of this content or content like this that you find on the channel, if you could consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos, your support means everything. Now, if we take a look at Seedworld, well, Seedworld is a newer gaming altcoin in the gaming sector that has gone ahead and launched their token on the 23rd here, so a couple days ago. It's obviously a new launch, so expect, extremely high volatility. Now, if you're not familiar with what Seedworld is that Seedworld, it actually is a user-generated content, kind of open world. Think maybe like a Sandbox or Decentraland, which are projects we'll cover later on in this video from the last cycle. It is essentially this big open world, almost like a metaverse, kind of, where, you can get in here and play other people's created maps, worlds, games, stuff like that, where they say in Seedworld, every game is a portal to another creator's universe where you can test your skills, strategy, courage against collective imaginations. In the traditional sense, you can think of other games as a rough comparison to like Roblox or even Minecraft, where you can get in, you can play other people's, content that they generated by other users in the game. So you can get in, you can create, different places or different games and set pieces in Seedworld. You can also obviously just explore it as well. And from the team that is behind Seedworld is obviously Seedify Fund, which, again, if you're not familiar with Seedify Fund, it is the top, at least one of, but I do think the top gaming launch pads and other narratives also, not just gaming, but traditionally known as the top gaming launch pad in the space. Now, we'll be taking a look at what Seedify Fund has done in the past and why I'm bullish on Seedworld as well. They say that there's more game modes coming. Again, you can go on here and see the full website, the full breakdown of what Seedworld is as well. Now, if we do look into their white paper and into the news here, they do say, this is what's going on with Seedworld. They have a couple, multiple updates. You can find it all in their white paper on their website as well. If we go over here and go to the white paper for Seedworld to get kind of a quick blurb of, again, what it is, it's just, you can get in here and just play, again, other people's stuff. They have game modes, they have their Beyond the Keep mode, they have creator modes, they have the open world as well, and a couple things about Seedworld. Again, this is kind of like what the gameplay looks like roughly right now from a tweet from, by Shiv right here, saying that it is a big moment for Seedworld as they bring their S-World TGE forward. So when we actually look at the gameplay of, Seedworld, it looks pretty solid. I mean, in my opinion, this looks better than anything that Decentraland put out to this day. It looks better than Sandbox, and these are projects, we're referencing to that got to almost $10 billion in market cap last cycle. Now, yes, we had a major metaverse hype run last cycle that, we don't know if we're going to see that kind of narrative again this cycle. But as far as gaming projects go, this is a solid looking project. And again, they're backed and, from the team Seedworld is, from the team of Seedify Fund. So when we take a look at what Seedify Fund did last cycle, I mean, Seedify went from, about a sub $10 million market cap all the way up to about a $350 million market cap around there, which, again, insane returns. And then they have been sticking around. They haven't gone anywhere. They keep doing, successful launches or just more launches over the last year. And they've already pretty much gotten close, if not max, or, got the equivalent, if not broke, its previous all-time highs this cycle already earlier on. And it's one that I think will continue to perform as the cycle progresses. I do think gaming is going to be a hot narrative, so I do think Seedify Fund is going to be a top-tier project moving forward, especially if they do have more successful launches. I definitely see Seedify Fund performing well, which leads me to believe that S-World is going to do quite well. Again, as always, nothing I say is financial advice. It's just me giving you my opinion. You do with it what you want to do. Don't listen, go watch other videos on the project or write it off, whichever. I'm just giving you guys my opinion here. Now, one thing that's interesting that Seedworld did go ahead and do is, and we've seen this on another project here recently, Xborg. Seedworld did launch on DEXs only. They also went multi-chain. We see here that they're on BNB, Ethereum, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Base. So, I mean, they got your chains covered, and they're only on the DEXs for all the different chains, like Trader Joe or LFJ, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, Camelot, Aerodrome as well. So, only on DEXs. No centralized exchange listings. They've added liquidity to all the different DEXs as well. Now, some people would say that this could be a red flag, but I actually beg to differ. We've seen the success of this model with Xborg also just launching on exchange listings. When we look at just Arbitrum and Solana and Ethereum, they just launched on exchange listings. Now, again, Xborg is another gaming project that we've talked about on the channel in the past, where, again, when we saw them launch, they launched at a small market cap. It won't show me here exactly, but around, 5 to 7 cents. And as of recently, now they've only been out for about a month and a half, about a month now, almost exactly. They quickly ran up to 35 cents with no centralized exchange listings, which, again, that shows that, they have build the project first, launch it, successful TGE, then bring exchange listings in the future. That way it could be potential bigger catalyst moving forward. And I think that that's actually a model that we're going to see a lot more because Xborg has been successful. I believe Seedworld has a chance to follow a Xborg-like, success story, given, how the market's going to go the next couple months. But it definitely has a good team behind it, with the platform of Seedify Fund. And again, only being on DEXs, it's already getting insane trading volume. I mean, we're looking over 2 million. And it's already done quite well over the 7 days. Since it launched only a couple days ago, it's up 53% already. I think at one point it was a 2x, from about 0.002 all the way up to like 0.005. So it's obviously done well. Now, again, as I circle back, it's a new TGE. It's a new altcoin launch. I'm not saying put your money in. I'm not saying that at all. This obviously has high volatility. It could go down. It could do nothing, or it could skyrocket. Nobody knows, but that is the the volatility of any new launch. Now, personally, I do like to see a chart kind of play out a little bit, so I wouldn't go FOMOing in at all, but that is just my personal opinion. When we look at the tokenomics, we can see that they actually break it down here, comparing a lot of the S-World token to what Seedify Fund, the S-Fund token, did in the past. So they did say they launched at 0.00175. They had plenty of liquidity. Their FDV was 35 million. Now it is sitting at obviously about a $90 million FDV. At one point, it cracked 100 million earlier this morning. And it's still, again, that is a correct market cap given by what they put out on Twitter. So it is still sub $10 million in circulating market cap. So a little less than a 10x in dilution, which, isn't too bad. We'll kind of get into the vesting schedule a little bit here in a little bit. You can see how it's a little bit more linear. But when they compare it to this S-Fund all-time high, fully diluted market cap was 1.7 billion. So if they were going to compare that, if S-World got to the same FDV all-time high of S-Fund, then that's a 48x. If the S-Fund all-time high market cap was 350 million on the circulating side, if S-Fund got to the same market cap, again, it'd be a 60x from launch, from TGE. Now, because it's a new launch, obviously, it could go below those prices. They haven't put out too much, as far as I'm aware, as far as a vesting schedule that I could find easily. But this is allocation. You can, pause if you want to. Currently, they did have their other token, the SNFT token. I want to say, which again, they do have a portal up here. If you did hold the SNFT token, you can actually go ahead and go on the website and burn that. I believe that's still active, so you can burn that, I believe. I did not have to partake in that, as I did not hold that token, as they've put it out for quite a while now. But again, if that's a question you have, let me know in the comments below, or reach out to the team or follow their Twitter. This is kind of the loose vesting that we can see. So right now there's about 2.2 billion tokens currently circulating. We can expect it to, again, launch here in the near future. So that is something interesting. They do have the roadmap of what's to come later this year. Again, they're gonna have land reveals as far as like having integrated land into the game as well. If you actually scroll up, go all the way to their Twitter, I believe their pinned tweet here. Again, one of the token sinks, they're gonna have their resources lands you can actually use in the game, which again reminds me a little bit to like what Sandbox did or what Decentraland did last cycle as well. So that's currently one of the token sinks. What that means is just more utility for the S-World token and a way to kind of get rid of some of the circulating supply of the S-World token as well. Now, by Meta Alchemist, the founder of Seedify Fund, he puts out a couple things here about S-World or Seedworld. Their token isn't just going to be a token, they say. It's going to be a virtual world. That's going to be an ecosystem with builders, creators, brands, expanding it for users. It will be an L1 chain too, and home to many other, I believe, user-generated content tokens as well. So again, a lot of this is reminding me of Sandbox from the last cycle. They've already had a ton of, S-World staked. Again, they say they're already at 250 million plus, and this was, the day that they TGE'd was staked in less than 6 hours. So pretty insane there. And they do put here, I want to point out a tweet, because whether you like him or not, Alex Becker is a major influencer, and what he says does carry weight. Obviously in the space, he can move, especially lower caps like this with no problem if it's mentioned, on one of his videos. That, again, whether you like it or not, that is a fact. And how Seedworld said here is, they just made a couple comparisons. How S-World, the market cap right now, again, this is when they TGE'd on the 23rd, was 7 million. Right now it's about a 9.5 million on the circulating side. They say the average, UGC world in Web3 is 800 million. The all-time high is 8 billion. And the top version of it in traditional Web2 gaming is 26 billion. And Alex Becker goes ahead and says here that he thinks S-World is going to fly just like Seedify, that it's a no-brainer. I do agree. I mean, that's kind of the sentiment I'm sharing. Now, we've talked about Sandbox and Decentraland so much in this video, and why we're making that comparison is that if we look at Sandbox, again, we can see from the last cycle, now, yes, they had a lot of partnerships. There was a whole narrative going for them with the metaverse, with Facebook, Meta, all that. I get it. And that's not what we have currently right now, but the cycle is, still yet to really go into full swing, in my opinion. That's a whole other topic, so I do think we still have room for the cycle to mature, as we really haven't seen anything yet, especially not a full-on gaming narrative run. But if we take a look at it, we can see that, Sandbox with their Sand token, for the longest time, for months of 2020, the summer, then the fall, then the winter, was about a $20 million circulating market cap, and then it ran up towards that first run of 2021. It ran up to almost, $500-600 million market cap, then cooled off. And then as we got a little bit more closer to the peak of the last cycle, at the end of November, we can see, obviously, with the metaverse craze that happened, we saw Sandbox run from a $600 million market cap, $500 million, all the way up to, almost like a $7 billion market cap circulating wise. And even today, it sits at a $600 million. And in my opinion, where it was a quality project, and I haven't kept up with it, admittedly, but they did have a lot of brands entering it. They had a lot of partnerships. They're still at a $630 million circulating market cap, and the FTV is obviously not that much higher, as they've had a lot of the vesting occur over time. But I do think that Seedworld potentially could set itself up later on in the cycle. Now, obviously, this is aligning out a lot of narratives to play out correctly and in its favor, but it could have a run like this. And another project to compare it to is Decentraland, which, if you remember at that time, Decentraland and Sandbox were two of the biggest projects running in the metaverse craze, because they were, again, focusing on that user-generated content, as well as having the land plots in their metaverse in their project as well. And we saw, Decentraland obviously had been out a lot longer, but trading at very low market caps. And then that first kind of run, it got up to over $2 billion in market cap, kind of stagnant. And then towards the end, an $8.5 billion market cap. And I would say that Sandbox is a quality project. Decentraland, I'm not impressed personally with the product. I never really have been. If I had to choose between the two, it's always Sandbox if I have to choose between the two. But luckily, we have Seedworld going into this cycle. So those are just comparisons of, setting up what potentially Seedworld's, predecessors done the last cycle. So again, guys, I think that Seedworld is definitely undervalued. If we're looking, long-term where the cycle potentially could go. Now, again, the disclosure has to be made that it just came onto the market, to the open market. It just TGE'd. It just launched. This could go anywhere. It could go down, as most new gaming altcoins do. It could just go stagnant, or it could skyrocket to the moon and come back down again. Who knows? Obviously, when we look at Xborg, it kind of just did a whole lot of nothing for about a month. I mean, it was slowly, gradually going up, and it didn't really take off until, let's be honest, Alex Becker did mention it in a video, and then I do think that was a big catalyst, was Alex Becker mentioning it, and then it took off. But again, when we look at this tweet here, he's already mentioned that he's bullish on S-World. If he does bring it up, and I say this all the time, not that you should rely on major influencers, but you can see the power here, with with the Xborg token, with Alex Becker. Just because he mentioned it, it shot up from about, 10 cents all the way up to 35 cents. So about, like a 3 to 4x just right there alone. That's pretty crazy. I mean, there's definitely power in that. So if he does mention Seedworld in a future video at any point later on in the cycle, I would expect a similar kind of like response for the token, especially since it is such a lower market cap. Now, again, I'll keep you updated as more of the vesting, information comes out. But again, comparing it to Seedify Fund, which obviously it's a competent team. They know what they're doing over there. Good product, backing Seedworld. It is their product. So obviously, with what Seedify's done, makes me bullish on Seedworld. What Sandbox and Decentraland have done in the last cycle makes me bullish on the kind of project that Seedworld is. What Xborg has gone ahead and done as well, with just launching on DEXs only, makes me confident on also Seedworld launching on DEXs only as well. And when we look at the project, again, it cannot be denied that the project is solid. Everything about it looks very well. They have plenty of plans for token sinks. They have a bunch of their supply is already staked almost immediately as far as, compared to the circulating side of things. And when you go ahead and look at their Twitter, again, they didn't put out a lot here in their media, but I believe a lot of people have posted, like the video we saw earlier by Shiv, a lot of what the in-game, quality does look like. And I expect this to only get better as, again, the cycle progresses. So either way, guys, that's my, quick opinion on Seedworld. I just want to cover it, bring it to your attention, especially if you were not aware of it. Let me know in the comments below if this was the first time you had heard of Seedworld, if you're familiar with it, if you're bullish, bearish, and either way, let me know where you stand and why. Let's talk about it. But either way, this is one that I'm closely watching and one that I particularly, have a bullish sentiment on moving forward. But it is a new, altcoin, especially in the gaming sector and gaming. Whereas it has gotten attention recently with, off the grid and everything like that. I don't expect a full gaming narrative run anytime soon. At least potentially not until the Guns token from off the grid does launch, which nobody knows for certain if that's going to be this year or Q1 next year. Nobody knows. That could be the next major potential full-on, gaming narrative run catalyst that we could be looking forward to in the future. But in the meantime, we'll keep you updated with, other TGEs like Seedworld as well. And as always, guys, if you guys got value out of this content, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, commenting, and sharing the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, see you guys.